English by the Nature Method by Arthur M. Jensen. Brought to you by Ayan Academy.
Chapter 28. In the Train to London. Mr. Miller and the three friends were going ashore from the steamer. Just before the travelers left the steamer, a great many porters came on board to take the travelers' luggage ashore. Some of them were speaking together. Brown: I heard the porters talk English to each other. I wonder why I did not understand a word of what they said. Mr. Miller: I don't wonder. It would have been a wonder if you had understood what they said. I can tell you that these porters are not very good at speaking English. Their English is bad. That is why you did not understand them. An Englishman who speaks his language well, you would understand better. Brown: Are you feeling bad, Wood? You look a little pale still. I think that the very best thing for you to do would be to sleep a little in the train. Wood: No, I am already feeling much better. They were all glad to get ashore from the steamer. Brown asked Mr. Miller what they would have to do now, and he answered that first they would have to go to the custom house to get their luggage through the customs. When they got to the custom house, they were asked, "Have you anything to declare?" And at the same time they were shown a list of things on which duty must be paid. Brown: Mr. Miller, what does the word declare mean? Mr. Miller: It means to tell whether you have anything to pay duty on, and on that piece of paper is a list of all the things on which duty must be paid. All four. We have nothing to declare. All right, then you may go through. When they came out, Mr. Miller said, "We are not through yet. Now we must go to the passport office. If they find our passports all right there, we may go on into England." As soon as they entered the office, a man took their passports and looked at them. Then he asked, "Why have you come to England?" Mr. Miller: "We have come here for a fortnight's holidays." "Where are you going to?" Mr. Miller: "We are going to London." "And where are you going to live?" Mr. Miller shows him a letter from which it may be seen that he has ordered rooms for four at a hotel in London. "Thank you. You may go through." As soon as they had left the passport office, they went to the train which was to take them to London. Wood: I do not think there is so much room in this train as in ours at home. Mr. Miller: No, you are right. The English trains are narrower than those of most other countries. Storm: But they go very fast, much faster than ours at home. Brown: Yes. Of all the trains in Europe, the English go fastest, I think. At this speed we shall be in London in a short time. Wood: That is fine, for the steamer went very slowly. Mr. Miller: Yes, it went much more slowly than the last time I came to England, but it went most slowly when once, 12 years ago, I was coming to England. Then the wind was the very strongest, and the waves the very biggest I ever saw on a trip to England. Storm: What large fields of grass they have in this country, and how many there are of them! 3 fields out of 4 have grass, and there are a great many sheep in some of them. Mr. Miller: Yes, the English have large fields of grass all over the country, and in many places there are sheep which live on the grass. Storm: But what about corn? The people in this country cannot live on the corn they have in their fields. I have seen some fields of corn from the train, but there cannot be enough for 45 million people. Mr. Miller: When I was in England years ago, I think that 9 fields out of 10 had grass. There are now many more fields with corn than before. But as you say, there is not enough corn for 45 million people. The English get much of their corn from foreign countries. And not only corn, but butter, eggs, and meat as well. Wood. But why did they have 9 fields out of 10 with grass? Mr. Miller. For many years, much of the land was in the hands of only a few people, and they were not much interested in growing corn. They went out hunting in the fields and in the woods. But nowadays, there are more people who own the land. Many of these people are interested in growing corn instead of having fields of grass, so there are more fields of corn than there were at one time. Then there's another thing too. From the year 1939 until the year 1945, it was very difficult for England to get corn from other countries. It was important for England to grow more corn so that many of the fields that had grass at one time now have corn instead of grass. Wood. Have they any woods in England? Mr. Miller. Yes, they have a great many woods, some of them owned by rich people. But before 1939, they did not make much use of the trees in their woods. From 1939 to 1945, it was impossible to get things from Sweden and Finland. In those years, the English had to make more use of their own trees. I think that the English are more interested in shooting birds and other animals in their woods. Storm. What do they shoot with? I do not know that word in English. Mr. Miller. It is called a gun. The English are also very interested in hunting foxes, but they do not shoot the foxes with guns. Wood. No, I have heard that rich English people like fox hunting very much, and that they hunt the foxes on horseback with hounds, as the dogs are called which they use for this. They ride on their horses after the fox, and the hounds run after it too. The fox tries to run away, but it cannot run so fast as the horses and the hounds, and at last it must give up running, and the hounds get it. Mr. Miller. Yes, that is right. And don't forget that it is only the dogs used for hunting which are called hounds. You will find that many Englishmen like to go out shooting. They go out with their guns to shoot birds and other animals. But people go out shooting in every country. I have sometimes shot birds at home myself. Storm. That may be so, but instead of that, I would rather take a good walk in the woods and look at the trees and the many beautiful birds.